Greetings and welcome to Stunthangar Video Hangouts. My name is Charles Carter and I'll be your host this evening. I want to extend to you my gratitude for you watching Stunthangar Video Hangouts. If you're watching this as a replay, I want you to know that I host these YouTube live streams every Monday and Friday evening starting at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please make a note of this so you can watch and be part of the live stream. Plus, we have an after party following the live stream, which is sometimes better than the live stream portion. You must be a registered Stunthangar Forum member to find the link to be part of the live stream and the following after party. Here at Stunthangar Video Hangouts, we talk about building and flying model airplanes, sport flying, competition flying, and what you've been doing lately. To join our conversation, if you are already a member of Stunthangar Forum, you can find the link if you scroll down to the section called At the Bench, which is right below in memory of our friends. Now, if you're not a member of Stunthangar Forum, or if you're not logged into Stunthangar Forum, the At the Bench link will not appear. Now, if you're not a member, please register at stunthangar.com/SMF. That's stunthangar.com/SMF. That's Smart Men Flying. That's courtesy of Jeff Riley. When you register, you must place a space between your real first and last name when you register. You must also use a valid email address, or Sparky, the proprietor of Stunthangar, will not approve you. Now, if you're inclined to not come in and just enjoy watching us on YouTube, wonderful, fantastic. Please enter your questions or comments in the chat box over here. I'll do my best to make your comments or questions a part of the show. Now understand, sometimes I can't get a word in myself, so please be patient, and I will ask our illustrious panel your question or state your comments. And by the way, you only can do that during a live stream. So like I said, I host these YouTube live streams every Monday and Friday evening starting at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So come in then during the live stream, post your comment or question, and if it's not convenient for you to stay on, but come back and watch the replay, that'd be fine. That'd be great. Now, if you find the Stunthangar Video Hangouts that I host, or the many building videos that Sparky does on this platform enjoyable and informative, please give us a thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. And if you would also consider joining our channel, our YouTube channel membership started at just $4.99 a month, which is less than 17 cents a day. It's like getting a cup of coffee at Starbucks. And besides, I'm a member. I have the $4.99 come out of my own checking account. So I'm not asking you to pay. I'm not doing myself. And I love this hobby. I hope you feel the same way I do and you want to support it, want to continue to see it to grow. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine. But at least as a bare minimum, please, subscribe to our channel, share the videos, comments, all these activities help the Stunthangar's YouTube channel grow. Please consider also supporting us using the Super Chat, which is located below the chat box over here. And we appreciate your amounts that you donated. We like and need your help, so please do that. Hope you find value in what we're doing, and that's why you want to support it. That's why I only expect you to support it is if you find value in it. Now, this is Sparky's YouTube channel. Before I get into that, getting back to the memberships, with your memberships, you'll get access to member-only videos, okay? And once a month, Sparky has a question and answer show for members only, and it's an opportunity for you to get like over 55 years plus of experience from Sparky. It's a great opportunity to get questions answered or how-tos, and he doesn't think this is the only way to do it, but he'll tell you this is what works for him. So that's a benefit for the $4.99, plus helps keep us afloat. Now, this is Sparky's YouTube channel, and I come in here twice a week. I just do the live stream, the live show. I don't come back and I don't check the comments and all that kind of stuff because this is not my channel. So if you want to get in touch with me, go to my YouTube channel, which is called Flying Control Line Stunt. That's Flying Control Line Stunt. And if you search that in the YouTube search bar, you should find my channel. And if you locate the 2019 AMA National Championship video, which is a video that Sparky shot with his video camera, me flying his beautiful and light, I think it was like 58.5 ounces. This is a big 700 square plane, and flew fantastic, beautiful flying plane. You'll be able to see me fly that plane. And if you would put a comment or question, and because that's my channel, the Flying Control Line Stunt channel, I'll get a notification of your question or comment. I'll be able to respond to you quickly. So I want to thank everybody for your past, your present, your future support, because you are making this happen. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Now, I want to ask one last thing, and that's to keep the conversations family room friendly. In other words, please don't use words or do things you wouldn't say or do around your own children or grandchildren. And without any further ado, I'm now going to post a link into Stunthangar forum. Now, I get asked from time to time, how do I get in? I see that request in the chat box, and the way you get in is through the link that I post. I'm posting it right now, and the link will be posted under at the bench. The date will be today's date. I have Friday, April 14th, 2023. That's the one you want to click, and that'll bring you in here. And when you come on in, you need to get permission for your camera and microphone. And let's see, let me go to what I call the control panel. Let me go to there now. And I see that I am streaming on the on my other monitor, so that's good. Hopefully the volume is good. And hopefully we'll have a great show this evening. I did go flying today. Had a lot of problems today. That was not a good outing, but the plane's still in one piece. I didn't crash or anything. I just had, I'll get more into it as we get more people. But it was one of those days. Didn't Mom say it was going to be days like this? Yeah, there sure was. And but it's okay. Let me see. I'm making my way to the control panel. Looks like we have 10 concurrent viewers and 9 likes. So only one person out there who did not hit the like button. But please, if you have a moment, take that moment, hit the like button. It won't cost you anything. And if you're watching replays, go ahead and hit the like and go ahead and subscribe. Those two things do not cost you anything. And it really helps the analytics of the show. And let me just do one other thing here. And then hopefully we'll be cooking with gas. Hope everybody had a good week and heading into our weekend. I'm looking forward to that. And it looks like we have Joe Daly coming in and Mark Weiss is coming in. Looks like things are going in. Hey, how you doing, Joe?
Hey, Charles, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for coming in. I missed you.
It's I gotta tell you, it's tough this meeting, especially the Monday night, because I'm on the East Coast, so it's a little rough.
No problem. Don't feel bad. I just want you to know I appreciate you and everybody who comes in. There really would not be a show with people unless people come in. So I need everybody on deck. You know, anybody who can. I know it's difficult, the time, the 3 hours difference, and you have young kids too, right? Is that right, Joe? You have young children?
Yep, I got 5 of them, so sometimes it's a challenge, you know?
It's a challenge. I know. I have 3 teenagers at home, so I understand. Hey, Mark, how are you doing, Mark?
I'm good. I have 14 children on the Pampa board.
Oh, that's funny.
Where'd Joe go? Did he get locked? Oh, there he is.
Joe's still here, and we have Stuart Morrison coming in. Hey, Stuart, how you doing?
All right, good.
Hey, Stuart.
And in the chat box, we have Tom Rammel. He provided us a like. Thank you very much, Tom. And Gary Sinclair, he's one of our Stunthangar YouTube channel members. I can tell by the moniker next to his name. And he's a monitor, so he has that blue wrench. And I see Joe Daly already provided us with a like. Thank you very much. That makes you a VIP. Not everybody knows how to do that. That's pretty good to be able to give a like and be in here. That's awesome. And so now we have 15 concurrent viewers and 14 likes, and we're off and rolling. I was just talking about how I went out flying today, and you know, you have those days from time to time. I go out there and let me see what happened first. The plane's still in one piece, no crashes or anything, but I just had this is a P40, has a clunk tank, and I've been having a hard time lately filling it. You know, I have a big syringe, it's a 10, 12 ounce syringe, and I'm pushing and pushing the syringe. The fuel is not going anywhere. You know, this has happened before, happened Monday, and I reversed the screen on the filter, the inline filter. I reversed that to back flush it, and that seemed to help a little bit. But today I just could not get any fuel in, and so I decided to take the clunk tank apart at the field. You know, so I undo the plunger, take everything out, and I pour the contents out, and I find this metallic little dot on the ground. So I had a little piece of aluminum or something in there that had plugged the fuel line. That's why I couldn't get fuel in. So and I just happened to. Can you hear me, John? Or you can't hear me? John, you can't hear me? John Miller, you can't hear me? I guess he can't hear me. I see you eating, but I guess he can't hear me. So anyways, I'll continue on. So after I take that clunk tank apart, then I see that piece of metal on the ground. I pick that up and examine it, and it's not metallic, it's aluminum. And I was like, wow, that's bizarre. So I have John Miller, matter of fact, he's one I was trying to get his attention, because he has on Stunthangar forum a thread where he shows how he sets up his clunk tanks. And that's how mine was set up. And he has like a lever that's the uniflow. It's kind of an L-shaped type of piping. And when you turn it, the way he designs it, it actually raises and lowers the uniflow, right? And I just thought I needed to bend it, tweak a little bit. I tweak it and I break it. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So fortunately, my home was only like 10 minutes away. So I go home and retrieve some more copper, and I come back to the field and I bend the thing again, put it back together. And I didn't get a chance to check for leaks. So I take it for a flight. And then, so upon landing on the first flight of my day, I decided to go ahead and wrench down the muffler lugs, right? The two muffler lugs, the two screws holding the muffler, right? And I torqued one down and torqued the other one, and the other one won't tighten up. I'm like, oh, snap. Now this stripped the one of the lugs from the muffler, right? So then I'm like, oh, well, let's see if it'll stay together. So it stayed together on the first flight, but on the second flight, right before I walked out to the center of the field, the guy that was my friend Stuart Mossman, he notices that the muffler is actually getting ready to come off. In the motor's range, I go and squeeze off the fuel line, and I'm done. You know, so that was my outing today. A little bit of trial and tribulation, but you know what? I didn't lose any parts, and I didn't lose the plane. So, but that was how my day went. So,
and you are our moderator, huh?
Just goes to show you.
Join everyone else who does things just like that.
Yes, and you know, it's always, you know, I've had, it's doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes when I torque down things, because I just think I need to torque it down, then it comes apart, you know, in some way or fashion. Falls off the plane during flight, can't find it. And it's like, if I wouldn't have touched it, it would never have came off, you know?
Yeah.
But because I just went and cinched it down. So
I'll tell you, that's why I don't put mufflers on my electrics.
Good
I think
idea.
I'm going to strip something.
Good idea. Good idea. So so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, I believe, according to Stuart Mossman, I can re-tap those threads. They're 440. So I'll just go ahead and tap it as a 3mm. And I believe there's enough material for me to be able to just re-tap it as a 3mm. Yeah. So John, can you hear us, John? John can't hear us, huh? John, I don't know what's going on, John. I know you can't hear me. So, hey, John, you can type in the chat box. Let me just, give me 1 second. Let me just.
That's a good idea. Hey, Dennis.
Hi, guys.
And matter of fact, let me get his introductions out of the way. Hey, Dennis, thanks for coming in, Dennis. And I see Steve Smith. Of course, he sees us, but we can't see you, Steve. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it, Steve. All right, and Tryan's here. Hey, Tryan, how you doing?
Oh, good. Good.
Good, good,
Yes.
good. Well,
Hey,
we have
Charles.
John here, but John can't hear us.
Okay.
So I'm gonna
We can talk about it.
yes, you know what? Let's talk about John Miller.
That's it.
All
That'll
I can
work.
say is John Miller is he is a good guy. He's a big man, tall.
Is he?
You guys have any idea
Mhm.
how tall John is?
Yeah, so it looks like he's pretty fed up of listening to us even on when he can't hear us. So, hey, Charles, are you a baseball fan?
Not really.
Yeah, okay. Reason I ask is I went to
Let me make
the
you big. Sorry.
the Fort Wayne Tin Caps game tonight. All right.
All right.
And the Tin Caps are a minor league affiliate of the San Diego Padres.
Oh.
So
Really
yeah, so
interesting.
I thought you might have heard of it, but anyhow.
Yeah, not from. I know that Padres go out to Arizona during the before the season starts, and they
Okay.
they have a big event out there in Arizona, but that's about it. Yeah, baseball is I actually love athletics. I just don't have time. With my 3 kids and this hobby, and so I do watch a little bit of Formula One because I find that I find it kind of interesting because we trim our planes to fly in a hemisphere, and Formula One they trim their cars to be able to deal with different tracks and all that kind of stuff. So I like the I see the
and to
relationship.
not fly in a hemisphere. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. They're actually all their aerodynamics is to get a thing to be pushed to the ground, and so they can go at lightning speeds around these corners. So I do watch a little bit of that, but even then it's just highlights. And then like most sports, I'll just go and watch the highlights because I don't have time to watch a 3-hour athletic event, whether it be basketball, football, baseball, soccer, or anything.
Well, our team is named in honor of Johnny Appleseed, who wore a pot for a hat, i.e. a tin cap. Okay.
Interesting.
And he settled in, and his later years settled into Fort Wayne, and is notoriously he's buried in Fort Wayne, although there's at least a half a dozen other states and sites have laid claim to being his final resting place. So it's a little, it's a little controversy there, but anyhow. Okay, I just thought
that's
it'd be worth
interesting.
it.
That's very interesting. Now, I played a little baseball, just little league. I didn't take it much beyond that. So I can't help but admire it. It is, an interesting game. I like as far as going there with someone to talk, you can talk and still see much of the game, as opposed to basketball. You really can't talk. You'll miss something.
Yeah.
So,
basketball, you just sit around, start watching the last 3 minutes or so. And, it takes an hour to play the last 3 minutes, but that's where all the scores, that's where the game settled. So,
right. So in the, I see you gave us a like, Dennis. Thank you very much. And Jeff Riley says, "Hi, Charles. Got you like. Thank you. Good to see everybody." Hey, Jeff Riley, come on in and be with us too. Hang out with us.
Ain't seen Jeff in 100 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. So Mark, I know you're busy with the planning of this 50th anniversary of Pampa event, but have you had any chance to work on your airplane?
A little bit, but if I can brag for 1 minute, we had a Pampa board meeting. That's BOARD, not BORED. They weren't bored; they were just
right.
board meeting. Got it? Yeah. And there were several committees. Joe leads the Northeast Pampa Regional Committee, and Derek's going to take over the Southeast Regional Pampa Championship, and we have a planning committee going, which is great. And my topic may have been the last one, and it was the banquet. And we've sold 50 tickets already. I think there were only like 12 pilots that have signed up, but we have 50 tickets sold. So, and the number was 100. So one of the guys, maybe it was Tim Just, said, you know, it would be awful if like 30 people show up at the Nats wanting to go there and we don't have room for them. You know, what are the options? So I said, well, there's a bigger room. The one we have is $550. That one's $900. And I said, you know, to be responsible, I have to check with Dave Tribble, but you know, that's $350. That's almost 10 members, you know, worth of. So it happened to be the handsome young man in the top right corner. He said, wait a minute, I'll give you $100. And then a second guy, who was it? Lee said, I'll do $100. And I said, well, then I'll do $100. And in the morning, I got an email from Paul Walker. Give me your address. I'll give you $100. And I'll tell you, it just warmed me up inside that, you know, that wasn't true a year ago. I don't think we could have pulled that off a year ago, but I'm just, you know, we got some good guys and they're interested in today and tomorrow, but they're interested about next year too. So their dumb president then thought about things. And so I called the guy at Ball State and I told him, I said, Charlie, I'm a little concerned about, I think maybe we're going to go for the bigger room. He said, why? And I said, because I think we're going to have 130. He said, do you think you'll hit 150? I said, I don't think so. So he said, well, Mark, your room holds 150. You gave me the number. I didn't give you the number. It'll comfortably sit 150. So I said, oh my God, what leadership. So I sent a quick note to all four guys saying, you know, hold on to it. If you send it, I'll send it back to you. But you know, that's very unselfish. That really is.
Yeah.
You know, no one's getting in free except maybe a couple of the people getting awards. But, you know, the whole board is paying the full freight. Pampa's picking up the giant share of the cost. And it just made me feel good that and Joe happened to start it. And I appreciate that, Joe. So
that's awesome. That is awesome. That is great. That's
you know,
anyways, I think control line people are some of the best people there are because
yep.
I can't remember anything as far as friendship and relationships and camaraderie and
Absolutely.
And not to mention helping each other out. I mean, I've been helped. I can't even keep track of what people have done for me. I mean,
yeah,
from helping me, you know, shorten my first Sullivan lines I got commercially. I was talking to Caffeine last week, and his lines varied like 2.5 inches. And I didn't mention it, but I remember I had a set of Sullivan lines that were like 2 feet difference. You know, one lead out from the other. You know, so I mean, commercially available lines aren't very good.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're mismarked and they're just messed up. So I had a you know, I was pretty much new or a retread, but I came back late and I didn't know how to do lines. And Bob Brooks, a different Bob Brooks than people probably know. The one that I know is out here in San Diego. He helped me, you know, cut my lines and terminate them. And I was like, wow, that is so cool. You know, then he went on to show me how to do fillets and you know, and Dave Sabon has showed me a lot and gotten help from, you know.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I got
lots of people.
I got a call yesterday morning from Tim Just, and who's just a great guy. Well, I don't know about his ability to judge people, because he said, I really like Joe Daly. So I had to spend all kinds of time with him on the phone.
Not the guy, man. Not the guy.
Yeah, to straighten him out.
Listen, Mark, that guy's in the bag, Mark. I took care of that guy. He'll sell no matter what you can do.
So, Joe, I didn't say anything. I really like you, man.
So Tim called me. We're on the phone like 30 minutes. And here's a guy who's reasonably new to stunt, who's going after it with everything he's got. Mm-hmm. And he said, you know, I've met Paul Walker, Chris Cox, Joe Daly, who else is in that group? Dave Fitzgerald, Red Buck. And he said, Mark, I'll tell you what the beauty of Pampa is that we got people who will do anything to help you. You know, and he said, you know, I'm a full-scale competitor, aerobatics, but you know, I want to make sure that next year there's Nats and the next year there's Nats. And he said, I love the idea about having regional championships. And he went beyond that. I can't tell you what he did, but with his own nickel, and it's a lot more than a nickel, he's doing something really special for the banquet. And he kind of called me to say, you know, I think I should have told you first. And I said, no, you have great judgment. I was trying to come up with something like you're talking about, but I couldn't come up with it. So it's like I said to the group last night. Someone had asked me, you've been in the chair for a year, you know, what's your feeling about things in the year? And I said, well, I can tell you this. For the first time in my life, I'm now on blood pressure medicine. So I said, I'm sure that's not connected to Pampa. But that's only gone on for 3 weeks and now it's back. But, you know, for me, it was a fast year. Between that and this forum, I've just met so many good people. You know,
absolutely. So, you know, if you're out there and listening audiences, what is this thing we do? I tell you, it's even more than just flying airplanes.
Yep.
You know, it's great people, and yeah, people will, you know, they really will help you out. If you really need help.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, Charles, you do a great job.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You do.
So, so no progress on your airplane?
A little bit. I went out this morning with my friend Tom Smelter and Greg Gunder, and I was out there I do some coaching with Craig. Not that I'm a better flyer than him. He's a terrific flyer, but he likes the idea of someone who knows how to judge to watch him fly, so we can make corrections, you know, along the way. And unfortunately, somehow, I think he was flying a Cavalier, and I think yesterday he dinged it, but the damage didn't show. So today he had it out there, it was flying, it wasn't quite right, and the whole fuselage was cracked right around the canopy, 360 degrees. So we didn't get a chance to do that, but we had a nice breakfast together and talked about our plans. He's coming to Triple Tree, so is Tom. They're both coming to Brodak, and they're both coming to the Nats. So it's good to be around those kind of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, one thing that some people I get comments from some people, and the comment I get from some people is that, you know, we know so much, we are so high and mighty, not in a conceited way, but we just know an awful lot, and we are talking at a high level. But we do have people who don't compete, who just go out there and fly. They don't even maybe know the pattern. And so I just want to just let people know, you don't have to be a super competitive person like some of us in here to be a part of the show. You can come in just having a love of aviation, as far as I'm concerned. And
that's a great point.
Welcome. You don't have to be a super expert to come in here. And I want to let people know that you know, I know competition is not for everybody, but you can definitely get a lot further quicker if you go to a contest. I mean, you'll have a chance to maybe connect with someone that's maybe just like you, very similar, someone you can relate to, and it's like, wow, you might feel comfortable. But I go to contests because I know it helps me get better. Because even preparing for a contest, I find that I don't take plays off. I will try to execute a pattern every single time, especially when I'm trying to prepare. So, but that's not the end all. You don't have to be a competitor to come in here. I want this to be a show for everybody, all levels if possible. Yeah. And that's why I'm trying to, even like the acronyms, Pampa, Model Pilot Precision Aerobatic Association, Did I say that right, Mark?
Yeah, but it's interesting you brought that up, because we have several committees working now, and one of them is a planning committee to do a 5-year plan. And I'm pretty sure we're going to change or modify the mission statement of Pampa.
Okay.
Okay. That part A of Pampa will be just what it is now. Top level competition, running the nats, doing the things that it was originally designed to do. But we all think on the committee that we need to branch out. We need to find some supporters financially. We came up with a lot of programs. And really the bottom line is we'd like to also be looked at as an organization to help you grow, even if you never enter a contest. You know, that you're just out there with your buddies, you're flying your ringmaster, God love you. If some of them come to contest, even better, even better. So that's the direction. I'll tell you what, I think I can help you with the idea that people think we're really good. I think maybe I can get Tryon to video a flight of mine. And then we'll probably get homeless people that'll dial in here and say, hell, I can do that.
Yes. So everybody's welcome to come on in. Let me track back a little bit. Hey, Joe Daly. So have you been doing anything as far as in your shop or any developments on any of the planes since last time you visited with us?
Yeah, I actually got out to fly on Monday. For once in my life, I took the day after Easter off. Usually,
All right.
I said, you know what, I'm gonna take a vacation day. And it turned out the weather was good, light winds, so I had 2 planes to go trim out for some folks. One being that guy who doesn't fly that well on this call here.
Yeah.
I took out his Howard Rush Memorial orange plane.
Mhm.
And got it going and trimmed it out. So Mark is pretty good. So
Would you tell this group about the plane you and Stephen made and how you did that?
Yeah, I can. So
I mean,
that was the other plane. So that was the
This
other
is
plane.
awesome to me. I'm sure Tryon would like this too.
I'm sure he'll be able. He's probably better than me at it. He's molded more planes than I have at this point. I've had quite a few. How do you say I've had quite a few failures that cost a little bit in balsa, but that's okay. No, so the second plane I went and flew on Monday was Steven's Axioma that we built, molded, and it was funny because he wanted to go out and fly it, but he had to go to school, so I went out. I think I pounded in about 15 flights on it. So it was pretty good. I mean, right off the bat, minor flap tweak, and after that, it was just flight after flight after flight, so it was pretty good. Pretty promising that we were able to pretty much replicate what Sherrod has. It flew very similar to the other one, so it was pretty good. Yeah, so what we did is, Steven flew the Axioma at the Worlds, and he really liked it. It fits his flying style. He just liked the plane a lot. So, that's great. But then you come back to the US and you got to compete at the Nats. So you got to qualify for the BOM rule to get appearance points. So I did was I talked to Sherrod. I got all his take apart hardware. I got all the controls for it. I got some foam wing skins from him already formed. And we built the mold for the wings, and basically we molded the wings. And for the fuse, I borrowed Arestus has all of the molds for a Shark. So I got the Shark fuse mold here, and that's how we made the fuse.
So Shark fuse with Axioma wings.
Yeah, kind of. So we were going to call it the Sharkioma or the Axiarch. But yeah, so basically,
the fuselage. Yeah, but the fuselage shape doesn't really matter. It's just who cares? It's the wings that carry the plane in the air.
Yeah. So the wing and tail, or Axioma wing and tail, which is very close to a Shark anyway. It appears.
And you painted it in the mold, right?
Yeah. So you paint the mold white. You wax the mold up, paint it white, put your glass in, put your balls in, vacuum bag it, and then it releases. The first one is actually, there's an orange one hanging up there. There's a test one up there.
Make it big. We can see it. I don't know if we can see it or not.
It's beautiful.
Oh, that looks nice.
That was the first pull. It ended up being, it's probably about an ounce more than it should be.
That's a fiberglass material.
Yeah, so
All
it's got,
fiberglass.
so it's got I used orange as the color, but it's got half ounce glass with inside the shell is balsa and then half ounce glass.
Joe, it's you're better off with 3/4 ounce glass.
Probably.
So let me say why. The half ounce glass is made by a number of strands on one side, a different number of strands on the other side, right? I'm not sure what the numbers. I think it's 56 and 30 something.
Okay.
56 strands on one direction, 30 something on the other direction, right? So you have a lot of gaps which are filled with epoxy eventually, right?
Mm-hmm.
The 75, it's a balanced cloth, which has 56 and 56. So it means you use more fiber and less epoxy. You're better off with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a heavier finished product. It's just a better product.
Yeah.
Now you have balance, so you have equal torque everywhere.
Yeah.
And now on a fuselage like that, if you want to make your, the fuselage is pretty straight. I mean, you don't have, have hard curvatures on it or anything like that. So, but if you have hard curvatures anywhere, you use the cloth at 45 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. That's a great tidbit.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah. So, I mean, and so, like I said, we ended up building the fuse out of the mold. The one that's in the plane now came out pretty good. Probably about, with all the glass in it, maybe just shy of 5 ounces for the fuse. That's no take apart hardware yet, everything, so it wasn't bad.
No.
So not too bad. We had some trouble getting out of the mold, so we had to fill some spots in. I think the mold was pretty new and probably not used that much. So really waxed it, and then we actually on the bench behind me is actually the second one. But of course we build one, and he wants to build a second one. So the second one actually came out better. Is actually about 4 ounces.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice. So
I see it. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but it's on the bench.
Oh yeah, that looks great. Wow.
We're really just in the process of aligning it. Got to put the tail in it. But
I like your alignment jigging there. Did you make those?
Yeah. So what's really critical about there's a couple of critical things about any stunt ship. Right? They gotta be straight.
The 3 of them.
Perfect. It's got to be straight.
Are there 3 of them? Alignment, and alignment?
No. So I guess a couple things. One, alignment's critical, right? Got to be straight. It's got to be rigid. It's got to be a reasonable weight. It's got to have the right power package, right? Those are the things that you need to make it fly. And the other thing,
got to be adjustable.
Got to be adjustable to get the trim. Without.
That's it. Yeah.
But if you build, so every plane I've built out of this jig, I have built every plane but one out of this jig since I've been flying, and every one of them off the board with no warps, straight alignment, no real challenge where to cut stuff apart. So it's really critical to get the alignment right. And it's funny, Charles, you talk about racing. So I actually worked in Winston Cup racing.
Oh wow, very cool.
About 3 seasons, and we used to build cars. You build them off what they call a surface plate. So like in my case, right, here's my surface plate, this nice flat surface I got.
Right.
And you had all kinds of jigs so that you could build something repeatable. So
and that surface is what is that surface made out of?
That's actually 1/2-inch glass. It's a Harbor Freight table. I don't know if you guys seen them. It's a Harbor Freight.
Yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
Pretty reasonable. It's got a piece of granite on it. I got a piece of granite. I don't know if you can see it. There's a piece of granite. And
Okay.
Then there's 1/2-inch glass I have on top of it.
Wow, that glass doesn't sound cheap, but then you need a flat surface.
Yeah, but you could use 1/4-inch glass. I mean, the granite really is what keeps it flat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I want to tell you how how supportive Joe's wife is in all this. That's their living room.
That's funny. That's
She's a
funny.
great woman.
I think control line wives are
gives
great.
it away. Joe, the big laugh gives it away, man.
Yeah, I work in this. Mark has been here, right? So it's like this.
It's not a big shop, but I'll tell you what, he knows where everything is and he knows how to build.
Yeah, so it's. I mean, it's tiny boiler room. The only thing good though is because the boiler's in here. In the wintertime, my epoxy is never slow. I actually keep all the resin and the epoxy on top of the boiler. So anytime you got to build in the wintertime, it's great. The epoxy flows right out, or whatever glue you're using.
Yeah.
Very, very, very good. That's good.
But yeah, Charles, the alignment is it's 4x4 angle iron, and I had slots cut in it.
Right.
Too well.
Thank you for going over this, Joe. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. So it's on because I don't have a permanent setup. I got to take everything down because of the space. It's on 5/8 aluminum rail, which I happen to have some 5/8 aluminum, but it can be on anything. It's on 2 straight rails, and there's 4x4s. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for each corner. And the front one is just some V blocks I had machined, or I machined them at a friend's machine shop. And then the back pieces are they just grab the trailing edge. And then
Joe, how do you make sure your vertical stab is vertical?
The vertical stab?
Yeah.
I use that looks about right method.
Okay.
For the fin, yeah. I eyeball it really good.
So you don't jig it.
Yeah, you know what? I did at one time. I had a couple triangles and I just cut out.
Yeah.
And I would put them on a flat. It only works if you have a flat stab.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Put on a flat stab, but after a while, you just kind of look at it and put it on. And
yeah. Your eyes are pretty remarkable. What they can detect and see.
Yeah. So you don't use do you use a laser at all?
I do. Hold on. Boy, you're lucky. It's all still set up. Don't mind the mess in the shop because we're in the
hey, no problem, man.
So I have
you heard me last week. I said stallions don't have a clean stall.
That's it.
I don't know how well you can see it, but I have a laser.
Okay.
The red beam is here.
Oh, okay.
So what I do is I shoot it over the whole top of it. It's really just to help. You can see a lot of stuff with your eyes, surprisingly, but the laser's like that extra little bit of guarantee that it's right. Like we'll spend hours just remeasuring the alignment.
Oh, absolutely.
Times.
Yeah.
And in fact, usually what I'll do is I'll get it set up and I won't glue it the first time. I'll come back the next day.
Wow, that's impressive.
Joe, you could probably use a little trick, just set up the fuselage first on the table, put a piece of masking tape on top of it, wherever the center line is going to be. Take a pencil and glue it to some glue it horizontal. Just walk it around the way, the wherever you're going to put the elevator, if it's in line, the elevator and the wing. And
Let's make it big here. Hang on one second. What do you got there, Joe?
My crude marking tool here.
Oh, very good.
Yes.
So I figured out whatever size hole it was to be able to stick a big pen in there. And
very good.
I got multiple alignments on it. So once I get the thing on the jig the way I want it.
Right.
Once I get it where I want it, and I got reference marks on the fuselage and the inside stuff. And then really what you can do is just run this right down it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Check the center line. Because really once the wing is lined up and then you get the thrust line lined up. And if you see, I just got a 90-degree bracket and I put the hole at wherever the thrust line is. And that really holds it flat to the table. And then all you do is get the wings level at that point or square to the table. And then after that, you're pretty golden.
Did you go to all that trouble on my plane?
Oh, it was yours.
PLAR.
No, so that plane, I did not build that plane, Mark. I got that plane from my dad. Bought it from somebody. And it wasn't all together. It was kind of all together. It's a Randy Smith SV30.
Hey, it looks terrific. I'm just kidding you.
Yeah, and listen, I told you it flies pretty good.
And I asked you what pretty good meant. And you said it
Very
just needs a
good.
little trim, maybe some tip weight, right?
Yeah, tip weight, flap tweak, the usual things.
That's fair.
So it's pretty. I would say it's pretty close. I mean, you may want to move the CG forward. I moved it back, but it was.
Thank you, buddy.
I thought it was pretty good. It locked out it flat out of the corner. It dragged the tip a little bit, so I had to take some tip weight out. But of course, I was at the field, and I didn't have, for some reason, I didn't put back in the wrench to take the tip weight box out. I don't know where, So I got there, and then I was taping the weight to the other wing panel to get it closer. But
Thank you, buddy.
But it's pretty close, Mark. Mark, there's no reason why you can't win like advanced with it, Mark.
Very good.
I think I just need to fly.
That's great. If it got trimmed by a top 5 pilot,
Yeah.
man, I'd love to fly a plane that's been trimmed by a top 5 guy.
See, I don't know if I want to fly that well because that may push away future members. I don't want to be anyone's role model. But I have to tell you this, the first contest I entered was in Northern Virginia. And I had a plane that Bob built. It was a Jonal trainer. It was an all foam wing and very basic, no flaps. And I got to fly pretty well. And Phil Spillman was one of the judges. And after my second flight, he came over and said, "Hey, buddy, I need to talk to you." And he was very upbeat. So I felt I nailed it. I nailed it. And he said, "Come here. Do you have $20? I said, "What?" He said, do you have $20? I said, "I do." He said, "Give it to me." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because I have a DVD to show you how to fly pattern. You don't know." I said, "Oh, okay."
Wow.
So I still have the DVD, and he and I are very good friends. And I thought I flew a good flight. He didn't agree, and he's the judge, so he would know better. But when he sold me that DVD, that was classic.
What is the name of this DVD? I'm not familiar with that DVD, I don't think.
I'll find it.
All right. Yeah.
It's Flying the Stunt Pattern, and it's not bad. It's not bad. But Craig, when I started flying with Craig, he said to me in the early days, he said, "Listen, I'm pretty blunt about things." I said, "Okay, you can tell me. I can handle it." And he said, "I'm watching where you pull out at what elevation you are on your maneuvers. The maneuvers look pretty good, but either you are fearless or you're an idiot. It's one or the other." And I said,
sounds like a champion to me.
Exactly. I said, you got to go for the gusto. So, but I'm really looking forward to flying time at Triple Tree. Brodak, I don't get much of a chance, but I could, find some time to fly there.
That's great. That's
So, yeah.
awesome.
I'll
Hey,
see
Joe,
you at
thank you.
Triple Tree then.
What was
I'll
that?
see
The
you there,
try-in? One more time.
I said I'll see you at the Triple Tree then.
Oh,
Wonderful.
Okay, cool. Great.
Wonderful. You'll see Joe too.
That's right.
Oh no, the guy again.
Yeah.
I'm dragging Jose. I'm dragging Jose with me too.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Jose Modesto?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
And
the end of
good.
Stunt as we know it.
And you
You
guys
can drag
are-
Jose Modesto into here. I don't know what's up. I've called him, left a message a couple of years ago. I met him at the Nats when I was there, and I don't know if I was holding Sparky's plane. I was flying Sparky's plane at the Nats, and I'm just gonna put it out there. I don't know if he didn't like the company I was keeping. That's why he didn't talk to me.
No, Jose. No.
I don't know what it is, but I just haven't been able to reach him at all. I'm very interested in talking to him.
So yeah, so reaching him in the wintertime is impossible. He's in the Dominican Republic.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't know when I tried to reach out to him, but I've told people, I think Steve Hines told them, "Hey, Charles, I'd like to talk to you." I remember I forwarded stuff through other people to have them just to reach out to me or something, and I have never gotten anything back. So if anybody's hearing, if he's listening, you know, you can contact me. That'd be great. You know, so I don't know you. I don't know Jose Modesto, so I have nothing against him or.
No, he's a fascinating guy. He really is.
I would just like to, you know, I really would like to talk to him about Big Jim Greenway. I'm really intrigued about Big Jim Greenway. I really am.
Oh, yeah.
You got about 2 days?
And Jose Modesto knew him very well.
You got about 2 days, Charles?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll make time. I'm really interested in that. And then, you know, we had some people join us since I greeted Dennis and Tryon. I don't know if I greeted you, Gary, but Gary, thanks for coming in a second time. If I didn't greet you the first time, thank you, Gary Sinclair, for coming in. And then we have Howard Rush, who came in. Howard, how you doing? Thanks for coming in. And then Carl Reed is here. Thank you, Carl, for coming in. And Keith Trossel is here. Thank you, Keith, for coming in. And John Miller, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right.
Now.
Oh, there he is.
All right, great. And then Caffeine is driving. Hey, Caffeine, thanks. And Barry Miller, how you doing, Barry?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good. Thanks for coming
We're
in.
doing great.
And Jim Hoffman's here.
Jim's
Thank
there.
you, Jim.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. And Steve Smith, can you hear me, Steve? I can't hear you, Steve, so I don't know what's going on with that. But anyways,
Can I just say one last thing about Triple Tree?
yeah.
You know, there's a fee to get into Triple Tree. And because of that, which is understandable if you've ever been there, I don't collect any fees for the contests. Okay. So to come up with trophies and plus everyone likes to take home something. So I was trying to save money this year, but I came up with, I think, a pretty neat thing. It's going to be a little Triple Tree logo on a set of briefs. So everyone's going to get a set of briefs, and on the back will be the Triple Tree logo, hospitality fund and fellowship, or something else. But I want you to know you won't be you'll be going home with something. It is it's not an easy thing to do to run a contest with no money.
Mhm.
But we have a good time down there. I'm
Hey,
done.
Mark,
I'll shut up. Yeah.
I had something happen this week you might get a kick out of. Talking to my friend, West Dick.
Yep.
He turned 91 on Monday, by the way.
Wow.
So still doing well and everything like that. So I'm talking to him today and he says, oh, by the way, he says, I just heard, he says, you've been elected president of the Muncie Model Club. Me.
Wow.
And I thought that was really special since I haven't even been to a club meeting in over 2 years and haven't paid my dues in at least 2 years.
You're a perfect candidate.
That's it. But it was, it sounded like something right out of the Mark W. school of falling into things or having things fall onto you or something like that. But at any rate, so if another thing occurred, if anything happens this year at the Nationals, and if they say you got to shut down, we just say great, and reconvene at Riverside Park in Muncie. And tell them to go to hell. All right.
It won't happen. I promise you it will not happen.
Well, it shouldn't have happened last time either, but it was darned unfortunate. But I think we just keep the options open, I guess. Is it.
By the way, I saw right as I was logging in tonight on Facebook on Stunthangar that Tom Morris is in the hospital.
Yeah. I read that too.
Yeah, he's had some minor heart attacks, and he's been falling in a shop, and I just ask everyone to pray for Tom.
Absolutely.
Tom Morris?
Yeah.
Man, I was thinking about him today. It's amazing.
Yeah. Wonderful guy.
I agree. I used to call Tom Morris before I even met him, and he would, he's a busy man. And I remember talking to him for 20, 30 minutes sometimes on the phone.
Yeah.
So, just great great gentleman. Then we finally met, and at the Nats. But yeah, yeah, definitely. And his middle name is Charles, I think, or his first name is Charles, but his name is Charles in there somewhere.
Yeah, he's a good man.
I wanted to ask
Charles.
next. Yeah, go ahead.
I tried that Super Zilla on loosening up an engine. I had an engine that was stuck really bad.
Right.
It was okay. And so I sprayed some down the Venturi, sprayed some in the exhaust, and took the plug out and sprayed some in the top of the cylinder. Tried to shoot some down the bypass so it get down to the lower end as well. And it didn't move. And so I came back the next morning, this morning, and it would move, but it was very draggy. So it will bust it loose, but it's not as good as just straight alcohol. I like the idea because it's also lubrication at the same time. So there's probably a use for it in there somewhere, but you know, if you really want it loose good and fast and done right, probably methanol or alcohol would be the way to go.
What was that product name you said, John? I didn't quite get that.
Superzilla.
Super what?
Green stuff. Superzilla.
Superzilla.
Advertised on TV. It's a lubricant. It's a cleaner. It'll take the like you get some like if you're parked on the street where you shouldn't be in Tucson, the cops will put a sticker on your window, and that sucker has got some stickum, and it sticks real good, and you can't get it up, but this stuff will take that stickum off. So it has some uses, but it will break. It did break the engine loose, but it still has some drag to it, and that I need to go at it with some alcohol and get it cleaned up. And then
Have you tried just putting it in the oven for like 250 degrees? Not the 900 someone mentioned earlier, but like warm it up, and then that might loosen up the baked on caster and that kind of stuff. Have you tried that yet?
The thing is that the engine has only been run 4 or 5 times, and it had 1022 fuel, so it's 10, 11, 11, and I was surprised that it was locked up that tight. But I didn't do anything to put it away. I just brought it home and set it on the wall. So that was my fault. And so
Maybe maybe just warm it up. Just warm it. You get the engine
I'll
warm.
get it loose. I'll get it loose, Charles. It's just I told you I was going to try it, and I told you I'd report back how it worked.
Okay, well,
That's
thank
how
you
it
very
works.
much. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, John. Appreciate that. Keith Trossel, go ahead.
No problem.
Hey, discussion, I think last Monday, somebody asked if there's a rule about the number of clips you can have on your lines.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And there is a rule, and this is for contests. There's no line clip police going around to local flying fields for sure, but in the control line general,
Let me make you a big.
okay,
you
control
are,
line
you big.
general,
Okay.
paragraph 5, the last sentence, it says, quote, no more than 2 connectors may be used per line, period. So anyway, it's in the
Wow.
rules. And so if you're at a contest, you can get dinged on that if somebody's watching.
Now, what if you have those connectors? I don't see them in the stores, but I have some where it's a combination of a connector and a swivel.
You don't
Oh,
use
Bad.
swivels are bad.
That's fishing equipment. Don't use it.
Well, swivels at least used to be expressly forbidden in, I believe, in the general rules. I
Yeah.
thought there was a statement, there was a direct statement about swivels not being allowed. Or, but I don't have it in front of me.
Sometime it may fail, and there's no reason to put up with that.
It's just a failure point.
All right. I mean, I've never used it at a contest, but I remember I was buying these lines from a guy on eBay, and his lines were so springy. I mean, they would just twist up, and so I would use the swivel to get the lines to relax. I'd fly with it, do the maneuvers, and after a while, the lines would just relax, and then they didn't do that anymore. So I was using them, and I remember someone telling me, you really can't use those. I shouldn't be using them. And these were like, the swivels I got are rated for like 100 pounds. And they're black.
Wow.
They're really, really heavy duty swivels. And so I just thought, why couldn't they be used, And I was told that you can't have no more than 2 connectors per line, right? And
Keith's got his hand up.
Hey,
Yeah.
Keith, go ahead.
In that same paragraph, 2 sentences before then, it says, quote, "No swivels are to be used as part of the control system of control line models," period.
Okay, I won't use it in the contest, but I stopped using those lines. I started buying another source. I buy my lines from MB Supply. That's a good source. The guy mostly caters to combat. You guys familiar with that guy?
Yep.
BS.
Yep.
Yeah, his
Very
material is good. It's the line fly-by-wire. I used to buy it from on that other place I mentioned earlier. That material would be springy. I mean, you'd cut it and all of a sudden it just, and so that was just no good for a control line, So, anyways, I wanted to get back to everybody in order. So, Stuart, what you been up to? Have you done anything with your? I know you took your tutor out, and last. So what's going on with you?
Today. I went flying, and I kind of finally figured something out. Because I was doing squares to try and figure out what my problem was, and then I realized I was doing the inside square, and it was like it didn't really turn well. And then I said, well, I'm going to try it and do the outside, and I really cranked it, and it turned real fast. And I realized, I finally kind of realized that the horn in the back of the elevator, I took the ball joint off and I twisted it out to when it kind of fixed my problem.
Right, I understand.
So, I mean, I'm still trying to learn what's causing what, because, but that really made a huge difference. It was just out a little bit, so now it turns more even both ways.
Well, if they are aligned, it should turn evenly both ways. But a couple of things can be in there. For me, I found out that the neutral on your handle, it's important to get the plane to turn equally inside and outside. And number 2, if you have a push rod that's very weak on the backside, it's going to flex. Especially when it's under compression, right? But if it's under tension, it's not going to extend, obviously. So if your push rod goes typically, the control push rod goes underneath the elevator, it will be under tension. In outside maneuver, it's going to be in compression on the inside maneuvers. So inside maneuvers will tend to flex, hence unequal control.
Okay.
I understood what you meant, trying, but for our audience, for some of the people who don't know very much, can you explain that again? Maybe explain what you mean by compression and tension. Can you enumerate that a bit better?
Okay. So let's imagine, for sake of argument, this is your push rod, right?
Right.
And the attachment here, you just pull on it, right? When you pull on it, it wants to stay straight, right? But when you
Right.
compress it and you have the forces like this, he wants to do this.
Great. Thank
Makes
you very
sense?
much. Makes sense. I'm sure
So-
our audience got that now.
So your push rod is usually down here and the elevator is here, right? So when it goes down, you kind of pull on it. So you have tension on it, right?
Right.
It cannot get any longer. It's going to be nice and I don't care how skinny it is, it's going to get the control to your elevator. But when you try to push the elevator up, the pressure wants to compress the push rod. And if the push rod is weak, it's going to do this number.
Excellent, Tryon. That is excellent. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Those are the two things, yeah.
Yeah, so that's great that you figured that out, Stuart, and saw that it wasn't so much nose heavy. I know that I was in the camp where I thought you needed to take weight out. You still might eventually do that once you're doing more of the pattern, but
Yeah.
but at least and I had this similar event. I don't know if you guys remember a couple of years ago when I was first flying my SV-11, my first electric plane. It wouldn't turn on insides, and it would like just turn on and flip on its tail on outside. And remember, I don't know if you remember, but I found that I had I had so little thread on the ball link on the push rod that it was just what like try and just illustrated. That's what I was having, and that's why it wouldn't turn on insides, but it would turn on outsides really quickly. So, anyways,
Yeah, because it had been doing this for a long time when I couldn't figure out what was going on. And then just today I kind of thought, I wonder if that's what it is. And I tried it, and yeah, it made a big difference. Like I only turned it twice around, so it worked really good. So
that is good. I mean, it's amazing how when we make these trim adjustments, everything gets easier. I mean, you're struggling to do something, or it's very, you have to white knuckle to do it, and then when you trim it, it's like, oh, this is a piece of cake. It's easy,
Yeah, because when I added that weight, remember I said I added a couple ounces on it, and I knew right away after I did that, and it helped with it was like smoother, just even regular flight, just going around, and that helped, and then so yeah, it's just it feels like it's getting to where it should be to fly it better. So
cool. Well, let me continue on. Looks like John you're freezing up a little bit from time to time, John Miller. But
yeah, I've got something running in the background that I'm trying to find out what it is and shut it off.
Okay. So as far as model aviation, what have you been up to, John?
Working on that engine. The weather is warming up here. It was real nice. Got up to 83 degrees a day. But
Wow.
then the wind came up. And the wind's been up pretty much every day. We're in that stage where wind's going to be blowing for about the next 2 or 3 weeks. It's typical around here at this time of year. So I get hopeful with all that good weather going to waste. Just know that as soon as the wind stops blowing, it'll get cloudy and rain or something.
Very good. I don't know if I asked you, Tryon, what have you been up to? I know you've been helping out with the conversation tonight, but have you been doing anything flying wise or building or in your shop? You want to share?
No, I didn't do much. I'm gonna resume the work on my vector plane soon. Just finish it. Other than that, not much is going on. I have secured some material for my next projects. Some PMI foam that I use for my plane, and that's about the extent of my modeling endeavor for this week.
Very good. On the chat box, we have Daniel Barry Sports Highlights. Yo! Anyways, thank you, Daniel. And then Middlesex Modelers, aka Al Fierro. He says Larry Scarinzi is 90 today.
wow.
All right, yeah, round of applause. 90 years old. That's awesome. Larry Scarinzi. I met Larry Scarinzi at Brodax.
Wow.
Too. He probably doesn't remember me, but I remember meeting him. And then Jeff Riley says, hey, John, try WD-40 and a bunch of 3-in-1 oil. The WD-40 breaks down the old and the 3-in-1 lubes the new.
Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you, Jeff. And trying to go around. Howard Rush stepped away. So Dennis, have you been, you mentioned you went flying, right? Did you mention you went
Yeah,
flying?
we went
Dennis?
flying Monday, and I was just turned windy for a couple of days after that. So I made up a bunch of lines the other day, made up 8 more sets of lines for friend of mine and myself and all that's, so that's it. I got, I have Todd Gunder, that's Craig's brother, flying on Spectra now. So,
All right.
so
Yeah, continue being a nuisance and everybody will
that's it.
probably
That's it.
finally get it. And then I want to ask Keith Trossel, what you've been up to, Keith. No, last time you showed us your new big job that's underway.
The wing's starting to look more like a wing. And wing tips are on, center section sheeting's about done, bell cranks in. Tip weight boxes going on. And thought might be able to go out and do something in the field tomorrow. Yesterday is almost 80 degrees. This morning is 40 degrees and there was snow falling. Of course, it melted as soon as it hit the ground, but it's been snowing all day.
Wow.
That's the kind of weather we've got today.
No, that's too bad. So real quickly, is Barbara doing better?
Yeah, she's feeling better, but not 100% yet. She's going to do another test tonight to see if she's still test positive. We'll see how that works out.
Tell Barbara I said hi. She
Yeah.
I hope she remembers me from I met her at Las Vegas last year. I had a great conversation with her.
Yeah, I'll tell her, she'll appreciate that.
All right.
Hey, I'll go get that wing. Hold on just a minute.
All right, cool. And let's see here.
Hey, Charles,
Yeah, Mark.
could you ask Jim, maybe he could report on his spectral lines testing?
Yeah, Jim Hoffman.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll do.
Sure. So I have a e-powered Pathfinder. It weighs in the high 50s, and I've outfitted it with spectral lines. And I've flown it 2 or 3 times the last week or two. Now we did some back-to-back flights with the metal lines and the spectral lines. And I am pleased with the spectral lines. I did have an inkling that it was helping the hunting, but that's not the case. That's not the case. But I get more uniform line tension, better line tension overhead. I'm pleased with it, and that is now the baseline configuration for that airplane. So I'm pleased with that. But it's interesting you mentioned Spectra. I had a very interesting thing happen to me this week. My cousin, he's a big kite guy, and he mailed me 3 stunt kites. And so they got here, and I played with them. I put them together and looked at them, but it didn't have any lines. So I went online. I had to go buy the lines. I had to figure out what I needed. I asked him what I needed. And so I go out there, and Spectra type line, that's the hot number for these stunt kites.
Wow.
So something a little heavier than we're used to, 100, 150 pounds they want. But the fascinating thing, I read a piece on one of the websites, one of the vendors, and they said that to tie the knots, they just use an over and under knot, but they put a hollow weave Dacron sleeve over the Spectra material where they tie the knot. And this is just a paragraph on it. And they said that a knot without the weave over it will fail at about 40 to 60% of the rated pull. And that exactly mimics
lines up with what you've been doing. Yes.
with my experience.
Yep.
So I ordered some of the kite line and all that, and I ordered a couple of yards of this weave, and stay tuned.
No kidding. Yeah, I want to know about that. That sounds very interesting.
Yeah,
but
Perry Rose is he was one of the early adopters, and that's what he was doing. He was using that.
Hey, Jim,
yeah.
with spectral lines, and Dennis, you may know this too, but do you find your lap times increase decrease?
I found zero change
Okay.
for me.
Now, the
That's
line
just
is
one data point.
physically about the same diameter as what it replaces, so the line drag is
okay.
awfully close. All
Okay.
right.
Let me
But
get
the
back
kite
to
guys have the same issues. They talk about stretch and
Mm-hmm.
pre-stretch and check them later and all that. It's exactly the stuff Dennis Adamson talks about.
yeah. Let me get back to Keith Trossel and his new wing.
This is,
Oh, look at that.
it's, well, here. The wingtips are on, still need some
Yeah,
more
it looks
to do on
good.
the tips.
Beautiful
And,
work.
tip weight box is going in, still need some work on that. Center
And-
sheeting is started. Haven't got the top done yet, but
Mhm.
that'll get on tonight.
I like your wingtip box cover. I like that shape, Keith.
Yeah.
Now, is that your own idea or did you copy that from somebody
That's
else?
pretty much the thing that evolved over time with me, I think.
And you use 2 screws to hold down the cover?
Yeah, these are like 256 or
Right.
yeah, 250. No, they're smaller than 256 cap screws.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does your weight slide on over a screw or it's just
No,
it's
I
in
just
the box free?
stuff padding and wrap the weights and stuff it so they don't shake around too much. They still shake around, but not to do any damage. And the box itself will be lined with plywood, all sides, top and bottom. So
Nice
Oh,
work.
wow. So your box is actually balsa and it's lined with thin plywood on the inside?
yeah. And the top cover here, that's from basswood. And the little cover screws onto it.
Wow. Very interesting. Thank you very much. I like that.
This
It's great.
came out of the last big job, so
Oh, okay. You can repurpose it again. All right.
yeah.
That looks really good.
And so far, we're looking about 7 ounces right here.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's a lot of wing.
Yeah, it's 580 squares, so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's stiff. It's got shear webbing. You
Uh-huh.
can see the vertical shear webbing between the spars.
Mm-hmm.
And on the trailing edge, there's shear webbing between these 1/8-inch square spars in here. That's 32nd inch shear webbing vertical grain. It's really easy to put in because these things are on the taper of the shape of the airfoil. So you just have a constant width and just kind of cut the length of it, and there they go.
Yep.
It's a real quick operation. And bell cranks in. And
Nice.
and lead up guides. I don't know if you can see how that
Yeah, we
works.
can. Yeah, we can see it. Looks good.
That's a
Very
piece,
good.
that's a piece of basswood. And those holes are drilled to line up with the way that the angle changes relative to the bell crank.
That's super.
So how do you do that?
Well, I mark on the plans what the angles are for the lead outs coming out from the front lead out and to the holes out there. And that angle changes. Same thing with the back lead out, and the angle there would change. And I mark that on the plans, and then I set up a fixture on the drill press so that I line the drill bit with the lines on that block before I start to drill each hole, and it comes out close enough to line up.
I never thought to do that. That is a great idea, Keith. I just assume everybody who has those that style lead out guide that they just make them all just perpendicular, just, perfectly straight, but you're actually having an angle to it. That's
And you'll be surprised how much that angle changes from where the bell crank is. Of course, it changes when the bell crank moves,
Sure.
but it's still pretty much in that same position. And then the angle, you can't see it on here now, but the angle really changes from the back hole to the front forward hole for each line. And so anyway, you set the block up on the drill press and shim up one end or the other to where the bit lines up with a line, and then drill.
and we're talking about a rectangular piece of basswood at that time, before you
Yes.
put a shape on it and everything.
Yeah. Well, it's already cut to shape pretty much. This is curved here.
Okay.
And it's a block though, so that you can just shim up one end or the other to where you get the angle right relative to the drill and drill.
That's
Anyway,
very impressive. That
yes.
is,
And see something else. This is a molded leading edge on the thing, so there's no
Right.
spar, there's no front spar or front piece, front leading edge on this. It's just 16th inch balsa wrapped around.
Wow. Huh. It must be light.
Well, the shells are light,
Yep.
and you put it on with hot stuff, so you gain a little bit of weight with the hot stuff because it doesn't evaporate. But in fact, I think some of the weight. Oh, one thing interesting. When I cut out all the ribs, they're all the same, and I weighed them, and all the ribs together were 1.5 ounces. And then I cut all the hole lightning holes in the back part, and all the front part had a
Right.
and I weighed them again. It went from 1.5 ounces to 1 ounce. So holes do weigh something,
yeah.
Very nice.
and that's a 1/2 ounce don't have to carry.
Very good. Thank you very much for sharing, Keith. I really appreciate it.
Looking really good.
Absolutely. And let me talk to Barry Miller. How was your gypsy, or what's been happening with you?
I'm actually, I've been sanding on it tonight. I'm actually in silver right now.
All
Oh,
right. Oh, very good.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it smoothed out and not look so ugly with all the silver on it.
Yeah,
that's
silver
nice.
shows up every little defect.
So yeah, that's where I'm at. Everything's in silver right now, and just not sure what I want to do next. I've got some bad spots on it. I got a question for everybody. I wanted to get some primer to try to put on the rough spots to try to fill it up, but I don't know who has it. I tried calling Brodak. They don't make it anymore or sell it anymore. Does anyone know where you can get primer at?
Dennis Nunes turned us on to Harbor Freight has a sandable primer, and I think he's still using it. I don't know if he's found something better.
And that'll mix with the dope. That won't,
Yeah.
because I'm
Well, I
using
don't know if he
Brodak
mixes
dope.
it. I mean, it says aerosol. It's a spray can.
No, but I mean, if you put the dope on it, the dope doesn't eat it away, or it's compatible with the dope.
look at Joe Daly's picture there.
Let me make Joe Daly big. Hang on 1 second. Replace. All right, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, so any acrylic lacquer primer will work over dope. I mean, dope is basically a lacquer anyway. Some stuff is better, like that speed coat stuff's pretty good. Dora Gloss was another one, I think. And I get
Can
it
you
on Amazon.
put that up again so I can get a picture of it?
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and what actually works pretty good is if you use urethane reducer with it instead of lacquer thinner.
Okay.
I
Urethane
mean, lacquer
reducer.
thinner's fine. Lacquer thinner will work fine, but for some reason the urethane reducer allows it to lay down a little bit better and sands a little bit better.
Okay.
I mean, you really look for something with high talc in it, really, really heavy. And again, you're going to sand most of it off, so you're not going to leave it on. Right? You're just going to fill the hole with it.
Yeah.
But you can get you can even go to any There's still paint shops around where you can get any high fill lacquer primer or lacquer
Okay.
primer.
And I just have to make sure it has lacquer in it, the lacquer primer. What's what I'm looking for. It should say lacquer on it.
Yeah, it'll say lacquer acrylic or acrylic primer. That's most primers are that way.
Okay,
Catalyst type, which epoxy or something else. But
okay.
and you
All right,
can
thank
even
you for that.
even like Rust-Oleum had some stuff like at the order at the I'm looking down the floor, so stuff like Advanced Auto on a few of them. That the house primer works. You know, and that stuff I
Okay.
use there dries within like probably 5 minutes or 10 minutes. You can sand it,
Oh, wow.
especially on a warm day. You can go out, just put it on 10 minutes later. You can come sand it right off.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
That is
All right,
awesome.
thank you for that. Appreciate that.
Joe Daly, what color is that primer you just held up?
That was gray.
Okay. Thank you.
This is a similar rattle can primer.
Yeah, that's
to
the one from Harbor Freight, right?
Yeah, yeah. I use this. It's compatible with dope. It's very heavy. You
Mhm.
put it on to fill little pinholes. It sands beautifully, and it's great for that. But it is heavy, so you got to sand it all off.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jim. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I got a picture of that too.
Yeah.
I used to buy that when I had the 20% off a single item at the Harbor Freight. I'd use that to buy those cans of primer. Not that it's real expensive, but you know, if I can get 20% off, I can get 20% off, right?
Yeah, boy.
Hey Jim, how fast is it? How fast can you sand it after you spray that on?
Pretty fast.
Pretty fast. 10
Yeah,
minutes, 15.
yeah. I would. Yeah, I've never done it in 10 minutes, but I've done it in a half hour.
Okay. Yeah, because
Yeah.
the DC 540 used to work real well.
Yeah.
This is identical to the
It's the
DC
same stuff.
540.
Okay.
Same. Yeah.
Great. Hey, Howard Rush. So how you been, Howard? What you been up to?
I'm fine, thank you. I been working on the NATS tabulation program.
All right.
What to do if it's Saturday or Friday in this case, and weather comes through and some judges have to go home. So you have to make do with fewer judges.
Oh, good.
Turns out to be more work than it ought to be, but it should be automated because at that point in the contest, you don't want to go in and manually change things. It gets too much scrutiny.
So have you been flying on Circle One, or it's raining too much still up there in Washington?
It was raining. Today was nice. I went out and mowed and rolled Circle One. As for filler, I use talc and dope, or zinc stearate and dope.
Yeah.
And if you look on flyinglines.org, in the stunt section, you'll see the Granderson finishing system, which involves using, well, essentially you blow on a whole bunch of talc and dope and then just carve an airplane out of it.
I like that.
I like that.
And it works.
What was the website again?
Flyinglines.org.
Wow, thank you.
They have some nice pictures over there.
It's an excellent website.
Yeah.
That's on my suppliers list that should be ready any day now. I probably got that from Howard.
Very cool.
Hey Howard, I heard you can only fly on Circle One if it's blowing 3 miles an hour and the wind's coming from the south. Is that true? Is that a true report?
Northeast.
Northeast. Okay. The first part was the first part of the story I got from somebody who was in their direction wasn't correct, huh?
Well,
although that person said they could fly no matter which way the wind was blowing there.
No, you can't fly no matter which way the wind's blowing. I think Tim, you might have talked to Tim and he tried it. That didn't work.
No, it wasn't Tim.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Howard, if we do run into lousy weather during the last round, you'll probably hear a gunshot sound. And that'll be the end of my life. It'll be much easier being dead.
Ah, please.
You're going to be in the top 5 or?
No, I'm going to abdicate my position.
Oh, you don't, what's your involvement with the Nats?
No, we're going to have a great Nats. I've been guaranteed.
All right. Hey, Gordon Delaney's in the house. Hey, Gordon, how you doing?
Oh, I'm still vertical.
That's good. That's good news. Have you been working on your Heinz 57?
Yeah, I got carried away down there. I had to cut 3 panels out on one of the elevators to repair a couple ribs.
Ugh.
So anyway, I got those, for some reason, they got chipped off or something, didn't notice it before covering. Well, after I got the primer coat on, I could see, hey, I'm missing 2 ribs on one side. So I cut the covering off and repaired the 2 ribs, and now I got it covered again with 2 coats of dope on it.
Good. Gordon, will you mind lowering your camera? I'm just seeing your nose up.
Oh, well, my forehead's pretty good.
Yeah, that's true.
How's that?
That's good. I can see your goatee now. Thank you very much.
So anyway, that's what I've been doing on it, and I'll be playing catch up on that one elevator before I can spray the base color on.
So this is, you noticed this before you covered the that control surface, right? It's not covered yet, right? It's still in bare wood, no tissue or no covering.
Oh no, it's been covered, ready to paint.
Oh no! So you had to.
So I had to cut the covering off to fix the 2 ribs.
What a bummer.
They were okay on the bottom, but on the top, I probably chipped them off when I was sanding, didn't notice it. So, it probably would have been okay, but I'm trying to make this one of my better jobs. So I bit the bullet and cut the covering off.
All right. And you're covering it with what kind of covering are you using?
Polyspan.
Okay.
So, and then
Very
on
good.
the bottom inboard wing, I had a problem there with the polyspan. So I ended up laying Japanese tissue over the top and doping it down. I squeezed it out with water and got it back up to speed. So the elevator's the last of the redos, I hope.
We was just talking about primers. What do you use for primer?
I'm just using a gray paint is all. It sands real easy and it shows your mistakes and it gives you a base coat so that when you put your base color on, everything is even when you go to spray your base color over it. That way you don't have light and dark spots on it. So when I'm putting it on with an airbrush, so 1,000 sandpaper, 2 licks too many, and you're back to the clear coat. So.
And what gray paint are you using?
What kind of paint?
Yeah, what is it? Brodak? Is it?
I'm using Brodak.
Okay.
And I'll do that when I get it all trimmed, and I'll shoot a clear coat over the whole airplane. Automotive clear.
Automotive clear. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, the more I work on it, the more I have to redo. Old age is setting in.
Yeah. Isn't that there's a saying that all finishes are not finished or just abandoned. You just get to the point where that's good enough.
Well, I've tried to abandon that idea and just keep on working until I get it right. So, and Jim knows how that works, don't you, Jim? Yep.
I think Phil Grandison on that one plane, he got the Concourse Award. I'm not sure how long he worked on that finish, but I remember hearing that Jim Aaron and Paul Walker and they're all just checking the plane out and they could not find anything wrong with it. You know, he just was so meticulous of working on it. Just well, Howard probably can expand upon that.
I can show it.
I saw that airplane. Phil and I go back to the 1990s.
Wow. Yeah, I just met him when he's on his way out, basically, of the hobby. He really stopped competing when I finally, shortly after I met him, make this plane big here. This is the, which plane is this? The Z-Lot?
Yeah. This is in the Chris Cox's bed in his bedroom at Stonehenge.
And that's the concourse winner?
Yes, 20
Wow.
pointer.
Yeah, I remember seeing the magazine, I think in Stunt News, where it was on the cover, I think if I was not mistaken.
Probably.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, beautiful, man. Well, that I imagine that helps you on finishing your dogs, right, Howard? You go back and compare and go, I got to go do some more work on my dog, right?
Yeah, there's a portrait of Philip there, of course.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
That is, how do you get that portrait on there? That is amazing.
He usually has it on his wheel pants.
That is beautiful.
Like, how you going to find romance without your face on your wheel pants?
So that's the secret. Oh, okay. Very, very nice. Wow. Thank you so much for showing that. I can't see this plane too often, I tell you. Look at all those colors too. And so we're not talking about just a few colors.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
They go together.
7, 8, 9. Yeah, maybe almost like 9, 10 colors on there.
Hey, Howard, have you weighed that airplane at all?
No. I could. I don't have a scale here, but
That is nice.
Masterpiece.
it is. Yeah.
The gold standard. Very nice. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you very much, Howard. I appreciate that. And you see here, in the chat box, we have Mike Lonke. He says, Larry Davis and I experimented with kite sleeving on the Spectra line for combat planes back in 2012. We found no benefit to brake strength as the line always broke somewhere other than that knot. Then he goes on to say, we deemed it an unnecessary step when using modified surgeon's knot. So, and then Jeff Riley says, hi, Mike Lonke, how are you? And let me see here. So I think I covered just about everybody. That's very, very good. You know, I last was it Monday, Dennis Nunes. I don't know if you guys seen that replay. Have you guys seen that? If you haven't looked at that plane he built, that thing is beautiful. But I'm really interested on that that flap adjuster. Are you using that same flap adjuster? Anybody else using that same flap adjuster, the one that Paul Walker, I guess, originally designed? Are you doing that, Joe?
Yep. I got it on every plane Yeah, I got it on just about every plane I got, except Mark's.
Sure.
Have
No,
you tried that, Jim or Gordon?
I
Tryon?
have not. I've used the Bob McDonald twice, and I probably will go to the Paul Walker method next big one.
What does Bob do?
What does Bob do?
Yeah.
It's a split horn, but I might have, no, I don't have one. And at the upright, it's got two pieces of metal that slide with each other like that. And they're held together with a screw. And so you have a hole in the side of the fuselage and loosen the screw, and then you can tweak the flaps, and then you snug the screw up and go give it a try.
That's what I have.
It's not as precise as the Paul Walker method, but it works.
Yeah.
It's a little simpler, a little lighter.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Thank
as
you.
precise if it's machined as well as Tryon's is. Tryon has a very nice setup.
Same thing, basically. Same idea, at least.
Yeah, yours is executed well, I thought.
Yeah, I meant to pull up some screenshots from the article that Paul Walker wrote, where he explained how to make that adjuster. But I haven't made one yet, and you're going to make one, Mark, right? Mark, you're going to make one, but you haven't done it yet, right?
Right. I finally got all the parts I need.
Yeah, if you can make that a show and tell, I would love to see how it's made, outside of the plane. Every time I've seen it, it's been inside the plane.
Yeah. I think I could do that.
That'd be wonderful.
Yep.
I wonder where, let me see what Jim Hoffman has for us. You make him big.
Well, this is just my box of control horns. I'm going to see if I have a Bob McDonald in there.
All right.
I probably do not, but
yeah, I bet you don't. And you said you don't.
Well, I never buy one of anything, so
that is a good tidbit. Don't buy one of anything in this hobby.
Yeah.
Do you have enough horns for the rest of your life?
I wish. No, but I have a few. Look at these.
What is that? Oh, Dan Winship.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Good stuff.
Yeah. They're old. I
Always
do not
good
have a Bob McDonald horn. It's in one the airplane I'm looking at in front of me, but I don't have a.
All right. Well, thank you.
Jim, could you explain how it works? Bob McDonald's is set up.
It's a split horn, and each upright, one of them has just a hole. There's a number 6 bolt that goes through. One side has a blind nut. The other side has a slot, and you loosen the bolt through a hole in the fuselage side, and then you can. The upright slides like that, and then you can tweak the flaps and then snug that bolt up and go take a test flight and see what happens. So I really do like the Paul Walker idea, because you can say, okay, I'm going to take a quarter turn on a number 4 screw.
Yeah.
Take a flight. Oops, I overshot. I can back off an 1/8 of a turn and so forth.
Yep.
The Bob McDonald system is not so good that way.
Yeah.
But it's more accessible because it's easy to get to it from a little tiny hole from the side of the fuselage that goes straight in.
So is the Paul Walker.
Yeah, but you have to hunt for the hole. You go on an angle.
No. Doran, it's not that bad.
No,
Okay.
because that tube lines you up right with that adjuster. I mean, it's just a straight
Yeah.
shot. You
Yeah.
just put that ball wrench in there or driver, and it goes right there. Isn't that right, Dennis Nunes? We're talking about the Paul Walker adjuster
Yes,
for the flaps.
yeah, you just gotta make sure you get the tube, right in line. And I normally do it with the flaps being level.
You know what?
The ones
I
I've
was
seen are
actually thinking about adding that, implement that in my plane, a variation of that system. But basically the same idea. Just have a screw with a fine thread that you can just fine tune it a little bit more if you need to. So I'm not as right now. What I'm doing, I'm just taping one side, and I feel where the other side was. I move it a little bit, tighten it down, and just snug it up. But I can still get like I think the system with a screw is much nicer because you can just do a little quarter of a turn or whatever, And it's like, well, I went quarter of a turn before, so if I went too much or not enough, whatever, and you can make a decision after that.
Yeah, I use a depth mic on the flap fairing. It's a real nuisance. It's not a fun afternoon.
What do you got there, Joe Daly, on your phone? You want to show us something?
So I don't know if anybody can see it.
Let me make it big.
I should just put these on, but I don't know how well you can see it, but that's what it looks like.
There
Yeah,
you
that's a good picture.
Yeah, it's a good picture.
Yeah. So I think I got another one. Hold on. No matter which way I turn, I make it work. But anyway. So
Do you have an aluminum block, Joe?
No. It's really 4 pieces of carbon rod.
Yeah.
Sandwich with about 1/32 and wrap it.
We're getting that background noise. What is that?
Grupul la asta mă tot ce
Oh.
vezi?
There you go. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I got it. Go ahead, Tryon. You can continue to talk, Tryon. I muted you. So go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what it looks like. I mean, I got I have more pictures of it somewhere in my phone. I should probably
So the block, Dennis, that block, what is your block made out of?
Mine's just
That
a piece
holds-
of hard balsa, and then I wrap the whole thing with carbon tow.
Yep.
I have carbon fiber on each side filled with balsa, and then I just wrap the whole thing with carbon tow.
Okay. When I saw it, I thought it was a piece of carbon. Because I just, because it's covered with the tow, I just thought it was a hard piece of carbon. I didn't know what it was. So thank you for clarifying that for me.
Yep.
I tried to make an improvement on the Paul Walker system and I failed.
But don't give up.
No, I gave up. I spent a week trying to get the bind out of it and decided it was designed in. So
Now your system is different than the two we've already mentioned. Yours is developed by who was that? The designer of your system?
Lori Malila. It's built into the flap.
How do you like it?
Okay, I guess. I've never had to adjust it. So
Oh, yeah. But if you had to adjust it, is it gives you the precision that we're talking about with the Paul Walker system? You can do it.
It's a slotted screw. You rotate that. But I'd have to take a piece of tape off the flap to do it. I got a little piece of tape covering it.
Is it tape orange by chance?
It is, yeah. So that there's less, it would be less bother to stick your Allen wrench in a hole in the fuselage.
Very, very cool.
Unless you fly acoustic airplanes, in which case you'd probably want to cover the hole in your fuselage with tape to keep the oil out. You'd have to take the tape off, just like as you would with the Lori's system.
Hey, Charles.
Yeah, Dennis.
I wanted to share with Mark. I had a a unique experience today.
All right.
I had my annual checkup with my cardiologist, who happened to be, she happens to be a new doctor that I received. And we got talking about my history and so forth. And she asked the question out of the clear blue sky is, do you have any hobbies? And I said, yeah, model airplanes, control line model airplanes. She says, what's that? And so I was able to explain what they were. And she says, that doesn't sound like RC airplanes. I said, no, they're not. And he says, my son is really interested in model airplanes, but we can't find anyone to fly with or do anything with. And so she asked me the $64,000 question. And that was, how do you get started? How did I get started? Because again, I go back when I was, when I first found out about control line I was about 12 years old.
Yep.
And then I got into it a little bit. And then time I got 16, I was out of it because now cars came in and girls and all kinds of trouble. And then I got back into it just, before I retired. And, but in trying to explain to her what I actually got to, and I was amazed because normally they try to rush you in like a herd of cattle. But I was able to show her a video of control line flying and so forth. And so she understood, what it was. And she wants to get her son involved with something like, because he has a love for aviation and airplanes.
Wow.
And so when she asked me, how did I get started? I told her, back in days where we had clubs, we had all kinds of people all around. We go to people's homes and build, learn stuff and destroy stuff. I said, I think your son was born 50 years too late. And but then it dawned on me. And here's my question to you, Mark, is I know Pampa is trying to take a look at how to get young people involved. And I really didn't have an answer for her, how her son could learn this hobby.
Well, I'll tell you, Dennis, it's a great point. What the approach I've been taking, and it's the first year I'm doing it at Triple Tree. I've had that for 10 years. We have 4,000 people try to handle a Triple Tree, and a fair number of them say, okay, how do I get started? And first thing they think of is that the planes we're flying are ARFs. So what I'm doing this year is I'm going to bring a whole bunch of handouts and ask them where they live. And then I'm going to ask them to contact the district director and start there. It's one of the things that we know where every Pampa member lives. And I haven't met one yet, I don't think, who wouldn't give you the time of day to talk about things. And I can direct them, that hopefully the district director can, to either the closest Pampa member, because hobby shops are hard to find, balsa wood's hard to find. And that's why I went through this. As a matter of fact, you helped me with it, going through the supply list. Where do you get the stuff? And matter of fact, for any of you, if you run into a person like that, give them my phone number or tell me and I'll call them. Because, it can be done. It's just not as easy as it was when we were growing up. But I must have 150, 200 vendors on my list. So if you know what you're looking for, and if someone says, I need a trainer plane, we all pretty good. We could probably set them up, and I'm tending to go toward electric. I just think it's easier for them. And there's no noise issue. It's funny, Dennis, we have a committee now, a planning committee, and that's what we're looking at is, I'd like to get kids into it too, but there's some basic things that make that very difficult. And one of them is they don't have their own transportation, and it becomes, the trainer becomes a babysitter. If the parents don't stay, it doesn't work. So I'm not necessarily steering everything in Pampa toward younger people. I think honestly, the quickest and best market, other than those who dropped out of Pampa, are people 65 and over. They grew up in the airplane era. We meet them all the time at Triple Tree, and they don't know that the control line's still being flown. They can't hear it. They don't know where it is. And one of the things I'm trying to do with AMA is ask them if they would urge the clubs not to call themselves an RC club, but to call the field a model airplane field. Just to change the dynamic, just to change, that it isn't just RC. It is, what about other disciplines? So, but as a matter of fact, if you know her, I'll be glad to talk to her.
Well, one of the things I was able to do, she gave me her email address. In fact, I just sent off an email address or an email to her this evening with some information.
Okay.
She wants to see them fly.
Okay.
And of course, bring not only her, but her whole family.
Wow.
That's
to watch
wonderful.
it. And I said, the nearest place I fly is Elk Grove, which is 35 miles away, or Napa, which is another hour and 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
She says, I said, Elk Grove sounds good. I said, I get an invitation to fly there it's a private site, and then I get an invitation to go out there. I says, I'll let you know when that is. He says, please do, because I'd like to bring out my family to watch something like that.
That's awesome.
So, but I felt helpless in the sense that, how do I help this family who's interested, and it's not like it used to be, when I was a kid.
Yep. Yeah. No, I appreciate you telling me that, and we're really working hard on it. A couple of guys on the committee really want to go toward kids, help them with STEM, get them into aviation careers, and I think that's fine. I don't think that can be our main thrust. There are a lot of drawbacks to it, and some of the things we're trying to do, honestly, the AMA should be doing. I've just expanded the role of Pampa because it dawned on me that no one is feeding these competitions with new people. And every year what I keep hearing is that, this guy can't fly anymore and this guy can't fly anymore. And they're not being replaced in equal numbers.
Correct.
So that is a challenge, but I know we can get around that, because I think the strength of Pampa, Tim just said it to me yesterday morning, is that we have right now 271 ambassadors. We have 271 people around this country who I'm sure would take a phone call.
Yeah, I would.
Particularly if we call them first and say, hey, this woman lives wherever it is, and she's looking to get into this hobby. Would you at least talk to her, and possibly could you find a place to fly and let her see what we do?
Right.
And, I understand, Dennis, from AMA. I don't quite believe the number, because I started looking at this list and there were some dead people on it. But there's something like probably 6,500 AMA members who say that control line is their primary interest. But they have no organization. We got 271 of them. So, if we can grow that, you shouldn't have to look too far for a Pampa member.
Wow, that's an amazing number.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me welcome Bob.
Thank you, Dennis.
Before it gets too late. Hey, Bob, thanks for coming in. I appreciate it very much. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Sorry I wasn't in earlier, but I was kind of working tonight. So just finished up with a client and thought I'd pop in. Hey, Mark, you're saying the lack of hobby shops in the areas. They still exist. They're called all-us individual modelers that have these hordes of drawers full of wheels and engines and props and all that kind of stuff. Yep. We could certainly, with a couple of phone calls locally, if everybody gets their act together, we could certainly outfit a new flyer quite readily.
That's very true. I asked AMA, they're getting a list. They have two lists of hobby shops. One list is hobby shops that work with them to push AMA. And apparently that's one kind of contract. The other ones are just hobby shops that don't want to play that role with them. And I'm supposed to be getting the list of those, but someone's going to have to go through and find out which ones are still around. But when I did this supplier survey, Canada was one place that had hobby shops. They're spread out in different places, and the ones that are around seem to be pretty good. For me, the closest good hobby shop is Carmichael's for Prodac, and that's 4 hours. You know.
Hang on a second. Let me say hello, goodbye to Jim. Thanks for coming in, Jim Hoffman. Appreciate it. Thank you, buddy.
But yeah, everyone has extra stuff, Bob. You're absolutely right. I don't know exactly. I wouldn't want to tell someone, well, call Bill Smith, and I'm sure he'd give you an airplane. You know, I can't do that. But maybe the person would be nice enough to say, you know, I have something, let's go out and fly it. And maybe if you stick around in this, I'll give it to you. You know?
And you know, if they get given an airplane kit or buy one, whatever, it's still missing all of the stuff that they need.
Yep.
You know, lead outs, bell cranks, all that. And that's the nuisance items to get hold of. Fuel tanks, even engines.
Well,
and you know, I could easily equip half a dozen people without even touching my stash for all that kind of stuff.
Oh, sure. Sure. You know, I go to some of the flea markets and it's amazing what people have stored in their, you know, in their homes or in their shops. And they'll never live long enough to, you know, to build these kind of things. One of the things I'm trying to do, Bob, is come up with some packages just to answer that question. You know, here's where you get the plane. And I'm working with different people on this. One of them is Stevens Aero, because they'll sell you everything you need for your airplane, you know, for a small electric powered airplane. Yeah, but that's the thing. You don't want to leave them hanging. And the worst thing we could do at Triple Tree is give someone a kit and not say anything. You know, they'll never build it.
Right. And, you know, additionally, they don't need that top end world championship quality materials. They need something that they can take around the circle and beat it up and patch it up and carry on.
Absolutely. Even Depron or one of those kind of materials. So we're working on that. It's just, you know, I have less people than Apple. You know, we don't have a big staff.
That's funny.
So it's just, you know, if someone asked me, how come you guys aren't getting the plans out? You know, where are all the Pampa plans? And I said, well, where are all the people who are doing this? You know, I know what you want to do, but this is all volunteer. You know, and
come on, Mark, get your act together. We want those now.
No. I was 46 when I took this job 1 year ago. So no, look, I like to hear those kind of comments because you know, I don't have all the answers. I have some, I don't have all. The board has more, but we don't have all. You know, I know we're headed in the right direction. This year we added probably 25 new members. I mean, new to Pampa. And that's a good year because for years, no one had to recruit anyone. It wasn't done. You didn't have to.
Right.
Well, times have changed, you know, and I really think the strength of Pampa and our hobby is that I believe we can get people one-on-one with a Pampa member.
Yep.
Someone who's willing to sit down and, you know, go to their home or open their shop and get them going. You know, not just give them the stuff and say good luck.
Right. So, I think so too.
Yeah. People have suggested to me that Pampa should sell, you know, a complete kit of everything. I said, well, you know, I don't know if that's practical, but you still, when you open the box, you still have to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, that's like when I started, Mark, with my old Cosmic Wind when I was, I guess, 13 years old for Christmas. And I'd never seen a model airplane before in my life. And I get this box full of wood for Goldberg Cosmic Wind. So then I got a subscription to Model Airplane News and started memorizing it. Yep. And yeah, it wasn't a pretty airplane, but the darn thing flew.
Yep.
You know, and I had zero support.
Yep.
So it can be done, but it's not easy.
No, it's not easy. Hey, Joe
No,
Daly,
but-
did you, I'm sorry, I want to interrupt. Did you have something you want to say? I'm going to wrap the show up pretty soon. Did you have
No,
a,
I was just gonna say goodnight to everyone. I was gonna jump off.
okay. Hey, thank you, Joe, for coming in. I appreciate it.
Joe.
I saw
Thanks,
you was
Joe.
trying to give me physical cues. You want to do something, but thank you. I'll see you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
All right. Good night, you guys.
you,
And
buddy.
it's almost a minute till the end of the show, end of the live stream. And let me just finally welcome my friend, Carl Reed, for coming in. Didn't mean to
Hey,
ignore
Carl.
you. We flew today, so I didn't think to say, hey, welcome. Thank you for coming in, Carl. Go ahead, Gordon.
I just want to say, over the years, when I've seen somebody that's interested, in them, I've let them my whole and help them build the airplane here in my house
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Oh,
many times over the years.
that's awesome.
And
that
anybody's
is
welcome to
super.
come to my shop too.
You know, if they show an interest, come on over, we'll build you an airplane.
That is super. I know you have people who you've touched their lives. I've met some of them, Gordon. Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, one of them is Brent Williams.
Yeah, I know. That's one I'm thinking of.
Yep.
That is awesome.
And he's become a very good pilot in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he took second. Didn't he take second? Maybe Mike Lonke took first in advance at Las Vegas, but it was either Brent Williams or the other guy. I can't remember his name. Those are the top three.
Yeah.
You know.
Before you go, if you guys would kind of keep this in mind, when you have ideas or problems that you think need to be fixed or implemented, please let me know. Okay. Please let me know. If we're doing something you think is wrong, please let me know.
You know, one thing that I would think is kind of hard to, it's hard to find the stunt pattern. I think it should be a little bit more accessible, especially the beginner stunt pattern. I think the beginners don't even know what's expected in the beginner pattern. And it should be something that's like so easy to get.
Good point.
Anyways, on that note, I'm going to end the live stream. That doesn't mean we're going to end the show. So we're saying goodbye to the live stream audience, but there's some of us that will stick around. But I want to just thank everybody for showing up and showing out. I love all the show and tells. I didn't get a chance to thank Jim Hoffman for his show and tell, and also Joe Daly, his composite fuselages and stuff like that, and Keith Trossel with his wing, its progress, and thank you last Monday, Dennis. I'm still thinking about your demonstration show and tell of your new airplane. I've been thinking about that plane. I was so impressed. I'm hoping to rewatch it over and over again. I really like how it looks. I mean, it's the other designs are a little bit more boxy, and I like how round this one is, the contours, and excellent. But thank you for sharing, you guys. I appreciate it. And thank you for we had some participation in our chat box. Haven't seen Jeff Riley in a while and Mike Lonke in a while, but I really appreciate Tom Rammel always coming in and giving us, he's one of the first ones to give us a like. And Gary Sinclair, is he still here? Hey, Gary, I might make you the host of the after party. Look out. And anyways, with that being said, thank you everybody for coming in. I'm going to end the live stream. And good night, Barry. Have a nice evening. Thank you for coming in, Barry.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Barry.
Hey, Barry.
All right, I'm going to end the live stream, and fair winds, tight lines. See ya.